to the Nest Podcast, your home for nerd entertainment and sports talk, where your hosts, Brandon and Zach, hash out what's happening in video games and sports every week. Enjoy the show!
Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to another episode of the Nest Podcast. This is episode 56, the LT Lawrence Taylor episode, presented by Sportszilla. I'm your host, Brandon, and joining me, as always, is Zach. What's up, my man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, dude, good. A lot of craziness going on. I'm expecting a hurricane to swing through the neighborhood sometime in the next week or so.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, by I guess Labor Day Monday, they're saying the hurricane should be impacting my area. So, yikes.
Yeah, shouldn't be too terrible, right, for the upper part of Florida?
It depends on what track you believe or what track that hurricane actually takes. If it takes one of the models, it would put the eye of the hurricane to the west of us, and it would put our path directly in the heaviest rains. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. These things are so frequent that a lot of people don't get that worked up about them. I watch the Weather Channel. If it's that bad, we can always skip across the state and go over to Tampa.
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a deal. You can get out of the path of a hurricane and just get some rain from it.
Right.
Fairly easy. It's not that big of a deal. What sucks is the people that come home and their homes are destroyed, which that only happens in the immediate impact zones.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Right on the coast and everything.
Right. My house where I am, I'm about 45 miles inland. So I've got a pretty good stretch of land between me and the coast.
Sure. Yeah. That's one thing I have yet to encounter is hurricane anything. Of course, I've had like remnants of a hurricane in the form of rain, but that's just rain at that point. So,
yeah. I'll take some videos and stuff if it passes anywhere near us and send them to you so you can kind of see what we experienced.
Yeah, for sure.
But, speaking of hurricanes and sweeping through, the Colts had some new sweep through their organization. Awesome segue. Nailed it.
I don't even know.
Yeah, It was terrible. I was trying to come up with something to get on topic, but yeah, I failed. The fucking Colts had some bad luck happen.
They did.
Andrew Luck called it quits.
Yeah, he called it a career. That was so surprising to me. I saw that, and it's just, I was like, wait, what? Like, are you for real? Like, basically in what people would call his prime, maybe the tail end of it since he's been hurt so much, but like, he's way, way early for him to call it a career.
Yeah, 29 years old. I mean, with CTE so prevalent and so prominent in sports, you alluded to him being injured a lot. Maybe he is taking the smart road out. I mean, he's made millions. We haven't heard about him spending ridiculous sums of money and blowing it, so it's safe to assume he still has a pretty good chunk of change. Oh, yeah, and the Colts are going to let him keep the remaining $28 million that's left on his contract.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was freaking really cool of the Colts. That was kind of surprising in this day and age where everyone's trying to stack money for some potential super deal to some megastar.
What that $28 million does is it buys Andrew Luck's rights for 2 years.
Oh, right. So he can't go hop on the Patriots or something and replace Brady.
Right. He can't go anywhere else and play football.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's smart. But I think he already has another job lined up, and he's going to stay in football. It's just he's not going to be playing anymore. And he set himself up to go be an executive, something in the front office of the newly formed and soon to debut XFL.
Yeah.
His daddy is the commissioner and the CEO of the XFL. It only makes sense that he would hook his son up, who is a, former NFL quarterback, hook him up with a job.
Yeah. That's a great job for him too, because I mean, he basically just gets to be daddy's little boy in this new company, and who knows what they'll have him do? Maybe some sort of, I couldn't even begin to think of what he could do, but I mean, yeah, that sounds perfect for a guy who has almost a decade of NFL experience. Especially as hurt as he was getting, and I mean, they weren't really a contender for anything. So yeah, I see this as a win for Andrew Luck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's nothing but positive for him. The only negative would be if the XFL folds, but then guess what? He still has a year left of his contract in Indy. He could put the pads back on, go play, and sign a new deal and get more money.
Yeah, for sure.
Go back to football if the XFL folds after this year. But this is the perfect opportunity for him to take this chance. If the XFL takes off on a rocket ship and everybody loves it and it becomes the new thing, the new big football thing or whatever, Andrew Luck would be set for life.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's right in the mix.
You can only play football for so long.
Yep. Definitely.
Like, I know Breeze and Brady are kind of breaking the mold playing into their 40s, but that doesn't happen to everyone.
No.
And I think Andrew Luck's smart, and he made the right decision for himself.
Yeah, this was a smart thing to do. Same with Gronk, I think. If you listen to Gronk's, did you see that little snippet that
his CBD announcement that he kind of broke down crying when he was talking about his football experience? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if shit like that is happening to you, then man, no matter how much money they throw at you, you got to make the right decision, because, like you said, you're not going to be able to play football forever. And if you get to be a 40, 50-year-old man and you can't fucking walk because you got hurt in the NFL or something, what is the quality of your life going to be for the next 30 or 40 years? For some guys that get banged up, you have to call it quits early. Not everybody can play into their 40s.
Yep, that's true. I mean, O.J. Simpson brought up something to that point when he was talking about him being in favor of Zeke getting paid what Zeke thinks he's owed. And that's because he's had both of his knees replaced. And he's like, this is what the majority of NFL running backs have to look forward to in the future. Double knee replacements.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And that doesn't sound fun, regardless what you think of OJ, whether you think he did it, he didn't. If you think he's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. He's walking around with 2 bum knees because of his football career.
Yeah. And I'm sure countless players that we have no idea who they are have had the same thing. Think of all the people who get hurt in high school football. I know people that have had knee surgeries and shoulder surgeries from high school football. You didn't even fucking paid.
Yep. Yeah, the captain of my high school soccer team, he was a senior when I was a junior. He was going to go on to play in college. He was really, really good. Tore his ACL his senior year, didn't even play but like 2 games.
Yeah. Now, do you think this sets a new precedent for younger players to start retiring in their late 20s, early 30s?
I think it does. I think a lot of these guys are realizing, like, dude, I'm stacking 50, 60, 70 million dollars over 6-7 years. That's generational changing wealth as is. I can use that money now to reinvest in another business, keep my health, keep my bankroll big, and just live smart. Gronk was famous for not ever touching a dime of his NFL salary. He lived exclusively off of his endorsements.
Sponsorships. Yeah, that's fucking genius.
So he banked every penny that the New England Patriots ever paid him.
Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah. He didn't have a $50 million pad. He had like a $1.3 million spot in Boston or whatever. Like he lived nice, don't get me wrong, but he didn't live like balling.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you can live nicely and not just be exorbitant.
Yeah. So, I mean, he was smart with his money, and I think he's going to be fine. I think Andrew Luck's going to be fine. And I think you're right. I think it's going to start a trend where more and more guys are retiring before they're 30 and they're set for life.
Yep. Which kind of segues me into another topic, but I think they're connected. People are holding out these days, and I don't think we have ever seen that before. Or at least I don't remember ever seeing a player just fucking not play to hold out for a big contract.
Yeah, it's not been anything that's at least been this common and this well documented.
Yeah. And so that leads me to believe the days of, famously Allen Iverson went broke allegedly while he was playing, and you hear countless stories of NBA players just going completely broke, and a bunch of athletes go broke, and that's not an uncommon thing. I think in this day and age, people have finally realized how lucrative a athletic career is, which is why you see all these young guys that have a lot of talent sticking it out for a big contract, and they realize, especially at running back, I can't do this for a long time. I need to capitalize now and get out while the getting's good. And so I think you're going to see young guys with a lot of talent asking for a fuckload of money and then getting out of Dodge before they're 30, 35 maybe.
Well, and that's the way that the cycle usually goes anyway, because by the time you are 30 as a running back, you're an old man because some 20-year-old kid's here to replace you.
Yeah, and he can run way faster than you can, and he's not banged up.
You've lost a step because you've been in battle for the past decade while this kid was playing Pop Warner.
Right.
He was running over kids because he was the stud on the field for that entire decade where you were battling grown men that were professionals.
Right.
Your body is a lot more banged up. Oh, yeah, by the way, you also had that 10 years that he played in Pop Warner prior to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, holy fuck, no wonder you're so banged up and you've lost a step, and these new guys are coming in replacing you. We're not going to pay you anymore. See ya.
Yep. Exactly.
This new guy's going to get the money now.
Right. Yeah. And in my eyes, more and more guys are going to, like, as soon as a couple people do it, they kind of break the ice and they say, wow, you retired at 30? Damn. And then that, I think, makes people think, you know what? Andrew Luck did it. I made maybe about as much as him, and I have a good chunk of change saved. Why don't I get the fuck out of this shit and do something else too?
And I mean, I'm sure there will be guys that are just so competitive. The drive in them to win is just so great that they stick around for a long time. Phillip Rivers, for example. That guy wants to win so bad. Well, that, and he has to support like 27 kids, but he wants to win so bad that he just sticks it out. And props to him for sticking around in San Diego.
Yeah.
And well, now LA, but for the Chargers, because he's had some shitty years, but he stuck it out with them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I get that too. I get the drive and the mindset of I want to win until I physically, literally can't win anymore. I get it. I just think there's two different paths for the type of person that you are, and I totally understand both.
Yeah, I agree. Could we see maybe a Patrick Mahomes take that route?
It's hard to say. I guess only he will know whether he's the type of person that wants to compete or is he in it for a good time and not a long time?
Yeah, I mean, it brings up the point though. Who's the next man up in Indy? Somebody's got to fill that role.
Right.
Jacoby Brissett seems to be the one that's penciled in as the replacement for now, but he's not the heir apparent.
Yeah.
He's not the quarterback of the future for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
I don't think the Three Stooges that they brought in, Brock Osweiler, a couple other guys that some of them that haven't even played in the league in a while. Was it Matt Hoyer was one of them? No, Matt Castle. Matt Castle.
Geez.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, pretty bad trio. I think they could have probably found some other players that might have been better. Kaepernick would have been a better backup in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But
yeah, I think he's just tainted. I think NFL teams don't want to fuck with his drama that he brings, and they don't want to bring in all that nonsense and noise that he brings along with him. So I think teams are just going to avoid him.
Yeah,
he is a good fit.
I think what it really is that he just doesn't want to be a backup.
Yeah, probably.
I wonder if there have been secret, or not secret, but just like hush offers of like, hey, you can come here, but you're gonna be a backup. You're gonna have competition for a starting job or whatever. And he's like, nah, I'm a starter.
Right.
I wonder if there is stuff like that, but
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think he could make a solid backup quarterback. He could probably come in and play some big downs if needed. Like now in this situation, if he would have been on the Colts roster, I think he would have been able to step up and fill Andrew Luck's shoes better than Jacoby could have. Could.
Yeah, I think 100%. And I think the whole drama that he started because he was a backup. He was pissed that he got demoted in his eyes, and he said, "You know what? I need some sort of limelight on me. I got to make noise somehow. So let me start doing this thing that, as to my knowledge, I never saw him when he was a starter kneel. It only started when he was a backup, which is kind of weird, but I don't know."
I've never heard that take, and I don't know. That's interesting if it's true.
I mean, it's all just speculation. Obviously, I don't know what's in his head, but it's kind of convenient that after you lost your starting job, then you start this whole deal.
Right? All of a sudden, you're trying to bring attention to a cause, but ultimately it brings attention to you.
Right. But even with all that said, I still think it would be a smart move for Indianapolis to pick him up. I mean, he would do well, number one, and they would immediately get eyes on.
Yeah.
They would immediately get attention at every Indianapolis Colts game.
Yep, they would sell seats.
Mm-hmm.
Their season ticket holders and stuff might not be as upset. They've been pissed. People that signed up for the season tickets and all that stuff prior to the season, and now they're mad because it's like, well, we don't want to come watch a losing team. We don't want to come watch you tank for Tua.
Right.
The Jacksonville Jags long snapper who used to play for the Colts offered to buy up their tickets, and he's going to donate whatever he buys to an area hospital to give to sick kids and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. You know,
that's awesome.
Fuck the Colts organization, though, man. This is karma.
Man.
It's karma. This is karma coming back on them for a lot of the bullshit that they've done over the years.
I wanted to ask you this last week when you mentioned what they did to Peyton Manning, but there was just a whole bunch of us, and I didn't want to go off on a tangent. But do you know what they did specifically to Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning was injured. He needed a neck surgery, and he was going to have to miss an entire year.
Yeah, that was 2012, right?
Right.
11, whichever one.
Whatever year it was, something like that. That was the year they drafted Andrew Luck.
Yep.
And traded him to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they sold on him and said, "Yep, we're done with you. We'll get what we can out of you in a trade, but we don't want you if you're going to be recovering. You're never going to. The odds of you coming back and playing football aren't as good as what we want." So they just kind of dealt him a bad hand after he had been their franchise player.
Yeah, for years.
Right.
Won them a Super Bowl.
Unless that player requests to go somewhere else, you typically hang on to your franchise player and let him retire there. That's like the Patriots trading Tom Brady for his last season.
Yeah, that'd be fucked.
That's like the New Orleans Saints trading Drew Brees for his last year. It just doesn't fucking happen.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
So that's why it was kind of cool that the Broncos came back, won a Super Bowl with Peyton, went to 2 Super Bowls with Peyton, kind of rubbed it in their face a little bit. Plus, the bitch-ass Colts, they're the ones that are responsible for Deflategate.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They're the ones that, in a cold environment, caught a ball that had lost a little bit of air, squeezed some out, and said, "Hey, look, this ball's deflated."
That's the reason you won.
That
we suck.
No one ever mentions the fact that the Patriots came out in the second half and scored 30 fucking points in the second half alone. They were already winning at halftime and then came back after halftime and scored 30 points on them.
Yeah.
The interception that caused Deflategate happened at the end of the second quarter. Right. So what's your excuse, Indy? Bitch-ass bitches.
That's funny. Yeah, I always thought that Peyton Manning was a fucking phenomenal quarterback. I guess I didn't really pay attention to how Indy treated him, but yeah, that's pretty fucked.
Yeah, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth for the whole organization.
Sure.
The only bright spot I can say that they handled right was the Chuck Pagano cancer situation when their coach Chuck got diagnosed with cancer. The organization really took care of him and his family and stuff during that, but he doesn't even work there now, so whatever. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk some baseball, man. We didn't really talk baseball at all last week because, like you said, there was a lot of us and there was a lot of conversation going everywhere. So we kind of missed a whole week of baseball talk, and our listeners that stick with us, they have come to know and love and appreciate our baseball banter. So
at least I hope so.
Well, I did get a few messages that was like, "You guys didn't talk about baseball this week." I was like, "Oh wow, people pay attention."
You like that, huh?
Well, we'll be sure to bring it back. Red Sox are toying with my heart again, man. Just when I want to write them off, they get on a hot streak.
Yeah.
They're out of their last 10, they're 7-3. They're 9 of their last 12. They've been pretty hot lately, so I don't know, man. 5 games back of the second wild card still, though.
That's crazy. I mean, that's definitely attainable.
It is. It's setting up for kind of like a 2011, I think it was, a revenge, because the Red Sox were ahead going into September of the division, actually, and went on a notorious skid. And the Yankees passed them and ended up winning the division, and the Rays ended up beating them to make it to the wild card.
Oh, damn.
And this year, we're not catching the Yankees, but there's a chance that we could knock the Rays out of the wild card. So it would be cool to get a little bit of revenge on them for that. And the Red Sox and Rays actually play in Tampa in September. So I think we're going to have to mosey across state and
you might want to get over there.
see if we can get in there and see at least one of the games.
Yeah.
Cheer them on, especially if they're still playing good ball.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's always fun to go to a winning game.
Right. Yeah.
And they have been doing that lately, as I mentioned. They took 2 out of 3 from San Diego, 2-game sweep of Colorado, and tonight, Friday night at 10, they play the Angels for a 3-game set for the weekend. The rest of the schedule's not that difficult, really. There's, I think, 3 games with the Yankees and 3 or 4 games with Tampa Bay. And other than that, everyone else has a losing record.
Yeah, nice. Can't
So
beat that.
it sets up nicely. If the Red Sox are going to make a push, it's now or never.
Yeah, no shit. That's good.
And God dang, it's what's blowing my mind though is last season I watched Mookie have his MVP year. This year I'm watching Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts have MVP type seasons. Rafi has a chance to become MLB's first ever 60-30 man, 60 doubles and 30 home runs.
Damn.
I think he's cooled down a little bit on it. He has 48 doubles right now, so he'd have to hit 12 in the next month, which is doable, but I think his pace has cooled off. He had an 0 for 15, 0 for 16 skid there for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
But Xander's putting up numbers. He just became 30 home run, 100 RBI. Second back-to-back season with 100 RBIs for that guy. How the fuck did Rafi get left off the All-Star voting and Xander was 6th?
Not this again.
Jesus. I mean, how? You brought it up a couple episodes, and I didn't even realize the magnitude of what you mentioned, but the Red Sox have 3 300 hitters on the ball club right now. The rest of baseball only has 18 total.
Yeah, that's insane.
We're
talking teams have Cody Bellinger, Christian Yelich, fucking you name all the rest of them, and the Red Sox have 3 of them, and I bet you no one knows who the fuck they are, which is why they didn't get in the All-Star game. Because
the only one that people know, JD Martinez.
Right.
Because the other 2, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts. It's not Mookie Betts. It's, he's like 286 or something this year.
It's crazy.
We'll
know him eventually.
I mean, one would think, but it is what it is.
Yep. What you got over there?
Let's see. I was just reading a stat. Let's see. 19 players have a 300 average. I have to correct myself. In 2009, a decade ago, 42 were over 300 at the end of the season.
Wow.
So batting averages have gone down significantly, but that should indicate that these guys are still playing the game the right way. They're playing it the way that we grew up watching it be played.
Yeah.
They're not swinging for the fences every at bat.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, all of those guys most of those guys that are in the top of the batting average are lower in the strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And I mentioned earlier that Xander has 100 RBIs. There's only 9 players in baseball that have 100 RBIs right now. In 2009, 10 players in each league had 100 RBIs.
It's crazy. The change in baseball has been crazy.
It's dramatic.
Yeah.
More strikeouts, more a lot of lower ERAs,
Yeah.
but more home runs.
Right. Yeah. So crazy. It's fun though. It's starting to ramp up for sure. September baseball will be very interesting with all the teams pushing for their spot.
Absolutely. We just got over Players Weekend, which did you catch any of that?
Oh yeah, yeah. I watched the whole Cardinals series against the Pirates.
Did you like the black and white uniforms?
Terrible.
Yeah, they sucked, right? Not a fan.
There wasn't any flair to any of them. The Cardinals had on white, and they were so fucking bright. It was like terrible to look at.
Yep. I didn't like it either. The Red Sox were in black, and it was just blah. Yeah, there's no flair,
Nope.
nothing.
Pop, flair, nothing cool. Like, oh wow, that's a really cool design. No, it's fucking dumb. I think maybe the idea was to let the players put on like cool cleats and have cool like sleeves or wristbands or whatever, so that they could accentuate those things. But I don't know. I don't know if that went over. Like, I think a cool uniform is where it's at.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. Like,
Especially for baseball.
no. I don't think the players really care so much about it. They shouldn't be restricted on what kind of cleats they wear every day anyway.
I don't get that either.
They should be able to wear whatever the fuck kind of cleats they want. NFL does.
Yep.
That's a big thing in the NFL is, oh shit, his cleats are fire.
Mhm.
Oh, look what he got. He got these custom, whatevers.
Yeah, wasn't it like OBJ or one of those dudes who like every game last year he had some crazy cleats?
Yeah, a lot of guys do that.
Yeah.
A lot of guys have their own unique cleat for every game or whatever.
Right.
That's their thing.
Yep.
Why can't it be that way in baseball,
Yep. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. You talked about baseball ramping up, and this is the time of year when you get to see a lot of younger players coming up, but you also get to see a lot of people that when their tempers start to flare because the competition is heating up and all that. We were at the Jumbo Shrimp game last Friday, and they're in a big playoff push in the minor leagues.
Nice.
And something was said that sparked a huge bench clearing brawl.
Yep.
And players were getting thrown on the ground, punches were getting thrown. The crowd was going crazy.
Yeah. I believe you sent me a video of that.
I did. I caught a video of it. The guy behind me was yelling Duval the whole time.
That's great.
No, man, it stuff like that is awesome. Whenever you have those bench clearing brawls, like half the team was ejected.
Yeah.
It was that was a blast.
And then
It was
I'll play a game with half your team.
yeah. Like all of a sudden you have a team full of replacements. You've got pitchers playing the outfield because you're out of fielders.
Yep.
That's the second time that my wife and I have been at a game together when a fight broke out. The first time that she saw it.
Nice.
One time when we were in Tampa, it was actually one of our very first dates. We were in Tampa, and she went to go get drinks or whatever. No, she was in the bathroom, and there was a fight that broke out along the third baseline. We were sitting behind the third base dugout.
Right.
Literally behind the dugout, the first row behind the dugout. And the fight broke out at third base. So it was no shit 25 feet from where I was sitting. And I freaked out. I was standing up. Oh my God. Fuck you, motherfucker. You bitch. You motherfucker. Get the fuck out of here. I was going off. I was amped.
That's
and
funny.
there was videos on ESPN or whatever when it was showing the fight that happened, you could see me in the background throwing my hands up, throwing the fucking middle finger, going crazy. Like,
That's great.
I think I had a picture of it on my Instagram at one time where it was like a zoomed up, blown up version, but it was just me, just middle fingers out, full on. You can see the scoreboard in the in the top of the corner.
All right, that's funny.
But she was in the bathroom. My wife was in the bathroom the whole time, and she came back, and I was like, "You fucking missed it!" So immediately after this jumbo shrimp fight, she looks at me and she's like, "I saw it this time." she was very happy to see it.
That's funny. It's so funny where in sports, because like there's certain sports where no one ever fights, and then there's sports where like they fight it kind of all the time. Like hockey, people always fucking fight. Baseball, clearing benches is common. I think that's so funny. And like in a sport where you're hitting a ball, people fight over it. It's just hilarious to me.
Well, you fight because there are so many close calls.
Right.
And you want every call to go your way.
Yeah.
You know, those bang bang plays at first base or that, you know, borderline pitch. If it goes against you in the heat of the moment, it riles you up, man.
And they can change the outcome of a game by fucking over a hitter or a pitcher. And people get heated. People want to win.
Bases loaded, you're down 2 runs, and you get rung up on a bad pitch. You know, a ball that gets called a strike on a, 2-2 count or whatever. All of a sudden, the inning's over. You didn't deliver.
Right. Yeah.
That changes the whole course of the game.
For sure. Yeah. That's fun.
And we're going to see a lot of that coming up because, like we've alluded to, it's September, and that's going to lead right into October. Playoff baseball is everyone's favorite baseball. Even the casual fans that will only catch, opening day and maybe one game throughout the year, tune in for the postseason if their team's there at least.
Yeah, for sure. Postseason baseball is fucking awesome. I'm very excited.
And your Cardinals have a shot at being there this year, huh?
Oh man, it's a very antsy situation for me because it's great that we're there, but goddamn, it is so close that anything can happen. If the fucking Cubs get hot and we don't, it's all over basically. It's just so neck and neck. I think it's either the Cubs or the Cardinals. I don't think the Brewers have the pitching staff to keep up. And the other 2 teams, Reds and Pirates, are just basically dog shit. So it's really only 2 teams in the NL Central, but man, are they so close.
And this weekend, the Cardinals are playing the Reds.
Yep.
And the Cubs are playing the Braves. So you guys have the advantage as far as the strength of schedule this weekend.
Yep. Definitely.
So because the Braves are a first place team in the NL East, they're scary. They're scary good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
it'll be interesting to see if we go up against the Luis Castillo or the Trevor Bauer and how we can do against that. I don't know if we go up against big name pitchers like that often. Because there really aren't any until now in the NL Central. So, I don't know. I hope we don't get tuned up by the guys.
Well, you faced John Lester. That's a pretty big name pitcher for the Cubs.
Mm-hmm.
I
can't think of any, honestly.
You faced Greinke this year when he was with the Diamondbacks. You faced Kershaw.
Yeah.
You faced Ryu, Bueller. You faced Marquez.
Tuned up Marquez. Rockies. Both of our teams fucked the Rockies up.
So, I mean, you faced a lot of good pitching in the National League. So, Don't be intimidated by Trevor Bauer just because he came over from the Indians and they're in the American League.
Hey, he's a pitcher.
He's hittable.
Yeah.
He's a good pitcher, but he's hittable.
Sure.
You've got Paul Goldschmidt. He's changed your offense.
Right. Finally, he started doing some stuff. Yeah.
I mean, he hit 30 home runs already this year.
Right.
That's a milestone home run. Hitting 30 in the bigs is a big deal.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've definitely got something going here, especially with. I mean, yes, we have Paul Goldschmidt, but the rest of the guys are relatively unknown. Ozuna is very good. Our all-star Paul DeYoung is very good too, of course. And what's a crazy stat? I don't know if I can find the exact number, and I wish I was more prepared. But Jack Flaherty, since the All-Star break, has like a sub-1 ERA. It might be different now, but like a week ago, I think I heard a crazy fucking stat like that. He has just been straight on fire since the All-Star break.
He's a starting pitcher? Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does he feature? Do you know?
What does that mean?
What pitches does he have?
Oh, I'm not sure. Probably
Okay.
usual, if I had to guess.
Fastball, changeup, slider.
Yeah, if
Something
I had
like that.
maybe a curveball, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he wasn't necessarily anything that I paid attention to. He's always been relatively good, but for whatever reason, and I've caught a couple of his games since the All-Star break. He's been very well. He's had up to 7 inning shutouts, and I think he's almost gotten close to the upper innings of no hitters. So yeah, he's doing very well at the end of the year here. So it could happen. It definitely could, but it also could go the other way, which is
You hear that, Reds fans? Flaherty's coming for you.
I don't know if there's many Reds fans out there in the world.
Flaherty, the flamethrower.
I feel like the Reds have a very small market.
I feel like they probably do have a small market, but I feel like that small crowd is probably diehard.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all real pissed off that Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Probably. If you're a Reds fan, then you have to love baseball, because like you were saying, it's hard to be a casual fan of them, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you're going to be a fan, you're a hardcore fan.
Baseball is a hard sport to be a fan of a shitty team because they play a lot, and if they don't win, it's fucking hard to watch.
It is. It really is. The Red Sox are in the playoff push for, a legitimate chance. But it's been a shitty season to watch.
Yeah.
I've watched probably 100 games this year, and a lot of them haven't been pretty.
Right. But then it makes it all worthwhile when they start getting hot and they start making it happen. It's like fucking finally. Like for the longest, Goldschmidt was just kind of there, and then once he started hitting homers and just doing his thing, it was fucking glorious.
Yep. Yeah, and I told you whenever he came over, he was going to be an impact player, and goddamn, has he ever been? Last year you guys got hot in September to make it interesting. This year you're going into September as the number one team.
All right. Yeah.
That's the Goldschmidt factor.
Yeah. Totally different game plan.
Yep. And, that's other guys stepping up. You said DeYoung, and I think you've mentioned Colton Wong several times on the podcast that his defense has been superhuman.
Yeah, for Gold Glove, I don't see anybody that could beat him in the National League for second base. I'm assuming Ketel Marte will get Silver Slugger, but for defense, my money's on Colton Wong. And what sucks is he took a foul ball off the toe, and he's been out for a while. I don't think they put him on the IL, but but he's missed at least 3 or 4 games. Just trying to let it heal or whatever. I don't honestly know what happened to his toe. I don't think it broke. But yeah, he's been missed for a couple of games, and that sucks.
Well, with the rain out Fridays, maybe it'll be back in the lineup by Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you see the viral video of the naked man running around from the cops?
Yes.
Do you know the whole backstory behind that?
I know bits and pieces. Go ahead and tell us.
That viral video that I'm sure a lot of our listeners have seen of a naked man running away from police. And then I don't know, like he that fucker he's now been arrested and detained or whatever because he murdered his mother, his sister, and his sister's son. The sister and the sister's son happens to have been the wife and son of a minor league baseball pitcher. His name is Blake Bivens. He plays for the Montgomery Biscuits, I believe it is. But that is a horrific thing to have happen.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it. And I was a little bit disgusted because so many people were sharing that video and laughing at it and like encouraging the guy to keep running away from the cops and stuff like that, condoning his, stupid behavior or whatever.
Yeah, thinking it was funny to see a naked man run from a cop.
Right. But that naked man had just slaughtered a family,
Yeah.
And now you've set the precedence that we're going to laugh and share if you do dumb shit. I hope that doesn't start the next trend.
Right.
Unfortunately, it happened to a baseball player's family, and that's why it kind of caught my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because it came across on like an ESPN feed or whatever, and it was like, oh, shit. But then I looked into it and I saw that people had been just sharing the video of this guy running around from the cops on Twitter out of context and treating it like a big joke. Like, oh, keep running, dude. Run. Like, shit's fucking dumb.
Yeah, that's social media for you.
Yeah, it's a poison. It's a cancer.
Yeah. It's so weird because hardly ever do you get the full story, You just get a clip it. And then people go off of that. And that's what you get. You get people laughing at a guy who just slaughtered a fucking family.
That's one of the reasons I love being in Sportszilla so much is, I posted something about the BJ Penn fight where he was beating up someone. And then one of the commenters, I think it was Jose, said, hey, that's not the whole video. Here's the whole video. And he posted the other part where BJ Penn got slammed and knocked out.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, oh shit. Like he was quick to jump in there and provide the other half of the story.
Yeah. You never know what the full story is, really. It's crazy.
Yeah. He commented and I'm like, well, if you can find it, share it, brother. Let us all know, Yeah,
definitely.
And BJ Penn, that's the second bar fight that I think he's been involved in now.
In recent time?
Yeah. Like within the past month or two.
Jeez.
It seems like he's got some kind of downward spiral that he's on. Yeah. I wonder if he's got CTE or some shit.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
he's taking a beating.
Yeah, and he's getting up there in age now, which is, I guess, when it starts showing itself.
I think he's got another fight already booked. They need to cancel that shit. They don't need to let him keep fighting. He's lost like 7 straight times or some shit anyway.
And who's watching that? Like, are they? The UFC can't be making money off of that,
right? I don't know. Speaking of making money, the big money fight that the UFC would probably want to make is Conor versus Khabib rematch, right? Apparently, Khabib doesn't want to fight Connor, and he's got pretty good reason behind it. He's like, who's he beat lately?
Yeah, that's fair.
He wants to set up the fight with Tony.
I like it.
I like it too.
I would love to see that happen. Fucking finally.
He says Connor needs to come back in and go on an 8 or 9 fight win streak, and then he'll fight him.
That's hilarious. Man, if they can make that happen, Tony and Khabib, fuck.
That would be great. I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love to see it.
We've it was supposed to happen, what, 3 times now?
Something like that. It's the fight that should have already taken place multiple times.
Yeah.
That I think that was the fight that Tony tripped over the cable before he was like during the weigh-ins or whatever.
L or his ACL or some shit in his knee.
Jeez.
Yeah. Fucking crazy.
Oh well. Maybe we'll see it one of these days.
Yep. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I would love to hear like the pre-fight build-up, because I don't think either guy is going to really talk shit.
Right.
They're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try to beat him.
Yeah. I mean, Tony talks shit, but he like, I don't know, he makes fun of people. Like he calls Connor McNuggets and shit like that. He doesn't really like talk shit. It's kind of like, he's kind of like fucks with you. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, but I don't know if he would even do that with Khabib. I think he would just be like, yeah, he's a good fighter. I'm going to go take his fucking belt, though. Champ shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be, honestly, that'd be a nice change of pace to have just a fight over a championship instead of these guys hate each other and they said all this stuff and drama. It's like they're fighting over a fucking championship, and whoever the better fighter is going to win. That's what's the big deal here, you know?
So you would like for it to be UFC where the best martial artists are competing instead of a show where they pit rivals against one another so that they can get scripted drama. It sounds like you like fighting and not wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, both are entertaining. I'm not going to lie. I get that the UFC has to sell tickets and they have to get casual people to buy them.
Hold on. UFC was selling tickets way before they started with the shit talk.
Yeah. Good point.
What do you think? What do you think guys like Matt Hughes, Tito Ortiz, Ken Shamrock, Hoist Gracie, you can GSP, you can run down the whole list of people of that. What they were doing was selling tickets to get to the point that the UFC is at now, to where they can sell out mega arenas.
Well, that's the difference. Now the UFC is on ESPN and they've got the big ticket. The Fertitas sold it and they've got to pay a $4 billion price ticket. So that's what I think. That's what happens is it turns from a passion project to a real organization. It started off as just ridiculous cage fighting with no rules, and then they refined it, and then they cleaned up the sport by bringing in USADA, and then they cashed out, and the UFC has made it to the big mainstream media. And this is what we've got now. This is how they've decided that they're going to make their money. Is Colby Covington's going to get up there with a MAGA hat on and talk shit, and that's what people are going to buy. So for the casual fan, I guess that's what people like. I don't really know, to be honest, but I think for guys like you and I, and the guys at Locker Room Talk, we like the martial artists going against the martial artists. I like to see the best fighter fight the second best fighter, or whatever the case may be. I don't fucking give a shit what Colby Covington has to say. If he's a great fighter, that's fine. But I could care less about the rhetoric.
Do you think he beats Usman?
I don't know. I mean, yes, Woodley's old and whatever you want to say about Woodley, but fucking Usman is a monster. I mean, he dominated Tyron Woodley. So I'd love to see it. I definitely want to see it. I think Colby Covington tuned up Robbie Lawler. So let's just fucking do it. I don't care about the shit talking.
Yeah, I think that has potential to be a good fight.
Oh yeah.
I think Nate and Masvidal has a chance to be a good fight.
Amazing fight.
Those are the things that I'm excited for. I think Khabib and Poirier could be a good fight.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Khabib's looking past him a little bit, already saying that I don't want to fight Conor next. I want to fight Tony.
Right.
But
at the same time, if you are Khabib, then you've basically ran through everyone that's anyone. So I get it. But
yeah,
that's when you start losing. Just ask DC.
Right. That when you sleep on somebody, that's whenever you get caught. But I called in to Locker Room Talk on their episode yesterday, and I talked to them for a little bit. They were talking about the Andrew Luck thing, and I called in to pitch my theory about him going to the XFL. They laughed at me and said that they were getting their tinfoil hats on and all that stuff. I don't know what that was supposed to mean. I think it's a pretty sound business decision on Luck's part. Whatever, guys.
His dad is, what did you say his dad is? The commissioner? Or?
He's the CEO and the commissioner of the league.
Yeah, he's got a fucking shoe in. It's not like he has zero tie to the XFL.
Yeah, no, they said the tinfoil hat when I was like, I have a theory about where he's going after the NFL, and they're like, uh-oh, here it comes. But no, they said it wouldn't be a bad idea.
Oh, okay.
But Wallow took a little offense, I guess, to some of the stuff that Adam was saying about Poirier last week.
Oh, okay.
And he gave a lengthy rebuttal. So you'll have to check that out, and we'll have to make sure that Adam gets to listen to it as well, because it was said on a call to me, but I feel like it was directed more to him.
Yeah, I get that. What did Adam say about Poirier? I don't even remember that.
Essentially that he hasn't beat anyone.
I thought he said that about Nate.
He might have said that about Nate too.
Okay.
And he also said that DC's light heavyweight championship was a toy belt.
100% agree with that.
Oh God, you definitely need to listen to Wallow's rant.
I mean, if you give DC a belt because John fucks up outside of the ring, then that's a toy belt. It's like the interim belt bullshit. He didn't fucking beat anybody for that belt.
All right, listen to his rant. Guys, tune into Locker Room Talk and listen to what Wallow has to say to Zach and Adam in that regard.
All right.
They're also a fine product partner of Sportszilla.
Mm-hmm.
And Sportzilla's making some enhancements and improvements and stuff like that right now.
Yeah, sure have. If you've heard us talk about them and you're weary of joining a obscure Facebook group, we're now public. You can come check us out.
Yep. And there's a Facebook page that goes along with it that's going to be promoting and pumping out original content. There several new bloggers are signing up to write about specific teams, specific sports, specific conferences. If you're a fan of the Big 12, somebody's going to be writing about the Big 12. If you're a fan of fantasy football, somebody's going to be writing about fantasy football. So you can keep up with articles and stuff like that just from joining and following along with Sportszilla.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's turning into its own little media hub, and I think a lot of people are really enjoying it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I know I am.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, man. You got anything else to talk about?
No, I think we're good. That covers it. Do you want to tell the people what's coming up here shortly?
Right. We have a change coming. This is going to be our last episode that comes out recorded on a Friday night and drops on a Saturday morning. We're switching to a new format. Next week, we will be coming on Monday night, and then the episode will drop pretty much when we're done recording it so that you can have it first thing Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll be covering the previous weekend NFL action and all that stuff. So you can have pretty up-to-date news and information about the football season and fantasy updates and stuff like that at the beginning of your work week.
Right. Yeah, we figured it'd be a lot easier to cover the most recent NFL news the day after it all happens.
Shoot, maybe we can start recording on Sunday nights.
Right.
And then it drops on Monday morning. That might work out better for us.
Yeah, either way. We wouldn't get to probably cover the whole outcome of Sunday Night Football, but
yeah, well.
But anyway,
we're only missing out on 2 teams at that point, so.
Right. Yeah, so
you get the bulk.
Yeah, we're going to be way more current for NFL news than if we were to record on a Friday.
Yep. So doing what we can to deliver the best possible show, deliver fresh content, and keep the listeners happy, because that's what it's all about. I'm tapped out. I'm out of things to talk about this week. So yeah, we'll be coming at you next Monday, and Justin and I from Into the Woods might be coming up with something special this week that will drop midweek for you guys. So stick around, stay tuned for that as well. We might have a fighter on to talk about some MMA stuff.
Yeah, definitely look out for that.
Cool. All right, guys. Peace.
Stay connected with Brandon and Zach on Facebook and Instagram at The Nest Podcast. And tune in next week for a brand new episode. And thanks for listening.